All right, and let's go ahead and get kicked off here. Thank you to everybody that has joined for our webinar discussing how to fuel your marketing with SMS and MessageGears perspective on SMS. To get kicked off, let's discuss who's presenting today. Myself, my name is Nick Ziech-Lopez, and I'm the Director of Product Marketing at MessageGears. Today, I am thrilled and pleased to be joined by Luke Ambrosetti, a Principal Solution Engineer here at MessageGears. Luke, how are you doing? Wait,
Sorry,
no, being on mute is so 2020, dude. Like,
my shirt.
we're in
Sorry, I'm on
2021
mute.
now.
No, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, great. I'm doing awesome. How are you doing? It's good to see you.
It's good to see you too. I'm excited to have you join me today. Luke, can you tell me a little bit about your experience in the past couple of years with SMS and MessageGears?
Yeah, so my job really with MessageGears and SMS and all of our messaging product has been to onboard clients. So once they're a customer MessageGears, to onboard them and to get them smooth in the sending process. So get them up and running.
Excellent. As we kick off today, just a reminder to everybody watching, feel free to submit questions, thoughts whenever you have them through the webinar panel. We'd like to make this as interactive as possible. And so let us know if there are any questions you have about what you're seeing or just about the topic in general. So to kick off, let's talk a little bit about the importance of SMS and what it is in this industry. So, we know that it's always relevant, and we know that everybody knows about the importance of it. But even in putting some of the statistics together for this webinar, it almost shocked me of how I would say the engagement and the relevance. So, for instance, overall, B2C SMS has about a 98% read rate, right? So 98% of these people read the SMS, with 90%, 9 out of 10 people reading within 3 minutes of SMS delivery. 3/4 of people have outspoken that are polled say that they want to receive SMS from their brands over other channels. There's been an enormous growth in the space with 159% SMS growth in B2B since 2015 year over year. And as far as talking about the engagement with the brand, how customers actually go in and use things, SMS-based coupons and offers are deemed 10 times as likely as those that end up in the inbox. Luke, given what you've seen and our customers' unique problems, does this jive with what you're seeing or having implemented?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's SMS is becoming a topic with many of our current clients today. And even yesterday, actually, I was reading a report about 50%, over 50% of consumers are now texting more during COVID. We're living a much more scheduled appointment and curbside pickup world, that it's so important to be able to send those quick messages to get those things done. And SMS is the best way to do that.
It's really that I mean, you nailed it. It's that convenience and quickness factor, I think, that we see. But also in this space, we're seeing what we're calling growth and almost discomfort around SMS. So when we look at the potential, right, more people are opting in to receive SMS messages on average. More people are wanting to be contacted through SMS than other marketing channels. And nearly everybody, 97% of companies surveyed, found that they communicated with customers more efficiently after launching texting initiatives, right? So this seems fairly straightforward. We're all doing it, except not, right? Because per surveys, over 60% of marketers don't use SMS at all, and a slightly higher proportion of marketers don't have any formal strategy for bulk SMS. So what we're looking at, to me, is a chasm between an incredibly effective and efficient channel that nearly all who put in place or are surveyed find worthwhile, and a gap of many, if not most, are still not doing it, which kind of leads us to a poll today. So we're gonna go ahead and get a poll kicked off. Let us know either through the answers here or by picking in the poll or letting us know in the questions. Do you send SMS as part of your marketing workflow? A, yes, fully integrated and part of the outbound channels. Only partially integrated through a third party mobile solution, right? So maybe this is siloed away. from the rest of your channels, or no, but it's on the road, right? You want to get to it. You guys are here today in an SMS webinar. Obviously, one is on your mind. Give it about a few more seconds. Luke, where do you fall? What's your answer here?
I personally fall. It's on my personal roadmap for sure. I want to be able to send more messages personally, just to all my friends even.
Absolutely. I have invested in a BlackBerry phone because that's how much I love SMS. No, I just love the keyboard. But it is real, and we do it. Let's go and see what people said here. And I'm actually somewhat surprised that we almost got an even 30-30 split. We've got a slight majority saying it's on the roadmap, where if it is on your roadmap, you're in the right webinar. This is what we're going to be talking about. And then I would say 60% there have it at least either partially or fully integrated. So if you're here today and you're interested or you want to know more, this is going to be a great experience or a great way to find out. So let's just talk very quickly about reasons. Maybe it's on your roadmap, maybe it hasn't happened yet. Why SMS I would say has always lost traction, right? And one is the thought or the need to rely on a siloed point solution, needing to go with a specific SMS vendor, not integrating with the other marketing tools, and then again, right, and this is what we see throughout the industry, needing to maintain another copy of the data in another tool.
Yeah, and as you said, Nick, it is a little bit more expensive, and that's why there is some fear there, or why brands are kind of scared to kind of get into the investment of SMS and start sending there. But you know, as we already covered, it's used more and more by consumers. It's their preference these days. It's definitely easier or better for the world we're living now. So it's definitely worth it to get into SMS, and to maybe even have a partner. Maybe part of the fear is having a partner who can guide you through that as well.
Well, and that goes into our third point here, that I think, you know, for email marketing, a lot of people have been very comfortable for a long time. And I think that there's almost a fear with SMS of like, well, how does this work? And because it's another thing that, you know, we're doing it on our phones all day. We feel like we know what we're doing. Transitioning that, it kind of, there's almost a stickiness to not doing it that makes it hard to get started. And so before we kick into the product here, I just want to talk about a few pieces of terminology that are going to be floating around that we're going to define a little bit today. When we talk about a short code, you guys are all probably familiar with what that is. That's a 5 or 6 digit code specifically for America. It might be longer or shorter in other countries, for which mass or bulk communications are used. We recommend the use of short codes for many reasons, but they really make that mass texting and the speed to market and delivery effective. Talk about two-way messaging. This is unique to SMS over email. Typically, when you send those marketing emails, you're not saying, hey, go ahead and reply to this email and let us know what you think. With SMS, it's a much more open communication. It's a much more open channel. So many of the use cases are going to be powered by two-way interaction. And finally, we have the idea of keywords. You know, a keyword being a specified text that, all right, when I send a word or a phrase to a brand, I'm going to expect a response. Now, there are many keywords that a brand might want for marketing purposes or just general a part of your programs, but country by country or region by region, there are legally dictated keywords. So here in America, you must have clear calls to stop and unsubscribe, and also where to get help. Likewise, help messages must include a clear call to action for a channel outside SMS. This is part of what we at MessageGears live and breathe every day about SMS, but I wanted to go ahead and just keep us reminded of that as we get into the product. But speaking of the product, can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to be covering today, Luke?
Yeah, so we're going to be covering 3 use cases today that ramp up in complexity, and how you can weave SMS into your current messaging solution, right? Your current messaging workflow. We'll show you how easy it is and how complex it can get to, with MessageGears.
Excellent, awesome. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop showing my screen, and Luke, I'm going to let you kind of take over and show us more of what it is MessageGears is able to do here.
Sure. All right. You guys see my screen?
I will answer for everybody else and say yes.
All right, perfect. So here is an example of a template or a campaign previously built, and it already has both HTML and push content. So we want to go through now, and we want to create or add our SMS content within this.
So
So I'll
maybe
go
for
through
current
on the
users of
SMS template.
maybe like current users of MessageGears, if you already have that content, how this would fold in.
Exactly right. So this is what the screen you're brought to. The first thing you're going to want to do is select one of your shortcodes that you can use. And that will bring up here again, as Nick talked about keywords, all the keywords that will be a part of that or are a part of the shortcode that have been provisioned for you.
Are these live today?
Yeah, they are live today.
Okay, so if you go through, so you can opt in. If there's somebody, if you would like to take part of the MessageGears SMS experience, what I'm seeing Gears or webinar or a message, if you text that to 61030, you'll get an example of how our keywords work today. Keep going. Sorry, I didn't want to derail your demo there, Luke.
No, it's all good. And so something that actually we help you with, right, as MessageGears does, is we actually help provision these shortcodes, right? If I wanted to come in through here and say I want to, start sending SMS and I want to send SMS to my customers, MessageGears is there to help you along that process, right? Okay. So provisioning a shortcode is actually it's pretty easy for our customers, although it is a pretty complex situation. We work with some tier 1 providers to help you do this. It is a 4 to 6 week process, but we make it as smooth as possible for you. Sure. To do that.
And as I understand, what's happening there when you provision the actual shortcode, we're going like provider by provider, like Verizon, right, Sprint, AT&T, and letting them know to expect these help and stop and opt-ins.
Exactly. Yeah, they have to give their sign off that they're gonna let you send to their customers. They want to make sure they're protecting their customers.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so I have my shortcode that shows here 61030. And now I want to just enter the message in that I want to add as part of this template of the campaign, right? So this is City and Glory. So as a best practice, you want to know who you are when you're contacting the customer. So I'll say get 10% off with about on your next purchase. And I can't spell.
It's impossible to type when people are watching. I do know that.
Yeah, especially when you have a few dozen people watching. So we'll say it's CG 2021, and that's now the message. So over here on the right, you can kind of see that live preview on our device over here. This is what the customer is going to be, kind of a quick preview, right? Not the finalized preview, but a quick preview of what they're going to see on their device.
Well, a potential device. I'm not seeing any keys on that phone, but that's neither here nor there. One thing, a message just came in on the questions. And it's asking, well, so I think you mentioned 4 to 6 weeks for a shortcode. Is that how long it takes to send SMS, or is that just the general onboarding, or is there anything we can do to speed that up?
That's a really good question, actually. So yes, for a shortcode, that's how long it takes, but we can actually get you up and running within about a day or two by using what's called a toll-free number. And that just again helps you get started with the capabilities, be able to send messages directly to your consumers. Doesn't have a lot of the features, the full feature set that shortcodes offer, but that it definitely helps you get up and running very, very quickly.
Okay, excellent. We're having a few other questions come in, but they're mostly about how to personalize SMS. Are there any use cases you have prepared today to show a personalized message?
Absolutely, yeah. Let's jump to that. So here
I was teeing them up, but these are really the questions that are coming in. So.
No, yeah. Well, so let's go right to that. Right. So I have this other example here. This is again a little bit more complex. This is the Getaway Hotels example, another great brand, very notable brand out there. So in this case, I'm actually going to welcome users with an arrival right message. So here I'm saying, I'm taking the property name, and hey, we're ready for your arrival. If you want more details, go visit this link, right? And here's the confirmation number to get that link. So if I want to go through and add these properties or these values, it's very easy. I can just come up here, right, and go and select them from my drop-down list here, right? So let's say I wanted, again, property names over here. Maybe I want to actually, instead of the property name, I actually want the property city. I'll go through in there. I'll put it in there, and now it's the property city instead of the property name. And I'm going to leave the confirmation there because that link is kind of important for my consumers. But I'll save that and preview it. And this is what this looks like. So now this is, of course, the email right, version of what's being sent for this campaign. But if I jump over to the SMS preview, now we're seeing a rendered preview of what the customer will be getting, and then not a customer, just this specific customer, right?
Right.
This,
and so is that, so it kind of looks like code, but it's really just clickable drag and drop type personalization.
exactly, yeah. And so Jim here is going to Seattle, and here's his reservation details, right? And I can page through here again. I can look at, excuse me, I can look at all the different recipients for this one job or this one campaign that's going to launch today, and I can see what that's going to look like.
Okay, and we're getting a couple questions about integrations with like CRM systems. Can you just explain where is this data coming from, and how does MessageGears connect to that data? What are we doing?
Yeah, and that's, that goes back to, again, MessageGears, one of the core value MessageGears, right? Connecting directly to your data, right? So this is connecting to your data where it lives, whether that's a data warehouse like Snowflake or a traditional database like MySQL or SQL Server. We connect to your data where it lives, and you can then run and grab sample data right from that database to populate here.
Okay, and I do have a question about just, you showed me the HTML and the like all of that. Is this what you're talking about when you say cross-channel?
Yeah, exactly. And so one of the cool things when it comes to cross-channel messaging with us is, you can select preferences, right? Let's say you have a BlackBerry, which I have no idea why you're using BlackBerry, but you probably want to get text because you probably can't even download any apps or anything, right? So you probably want to get text messages. Is that right?
Right. Well, absolutely it is. Yeah, that's why I'm doing. That's why I'm here with the webinar.
Perfect. Yeah, I have apps on my phone. I can just use the app and use a notification there. But we have a couple ways to do channel preference, right? So if I send this job out, or we send this message out, this campaign out, you can explicitly set channel preference here to say, okay, this person wants SMS, right? And that's what they're going to get. They're going to get the SMS message over the email and the push message. If that's not there, they get all three, right? If that's not explicit. Another way to do that same thing is just to not provide the recipient address for the SMS or the email, right? So if I take out my SMS address here and just blank it out, you'll see that it says, hey, you don't have a valid SMS. They're not going to get SMS.
Okay, excellent. Getting a question, can you send test sends here, or do you just go live with the campaign?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's do a test send real quick. You want to do that live?
It's exactly what I want to do.
Yeah, all right. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's send this. And Nick, I need your phone number.
I'm not going to say that out loud on the webinar, but if you want to put your phone number, we can.
Oh, come on, Nick.
Are you trying to get me doxxed? Is what you're doing?
Exactly. All right. I'll do mine. Fine, I'll do mine.
Okay.
I know it's being recorded, but why not?
You've got burner phones anyway, as I understand it. Real quick, I had seen that it said when you hit the drop down, it said send this and send all. What is that doing?
Yeah, so send this is sending this particular message to me. Send all would say, all right, I want to send all of my messages. So let's say I have 5 different types of display here in my test data, right? I want to send all of those to one person to see each type of message and how it displays.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. This looks great. We've gotten 2 or 3 questions here about global campaigns. As I understand it, many of our users do global campaigns today. Is that something like, how would you do that in this view?
Well, that's my next use case here, right? So this is again a much more complex template. We are ramping up the complexity here. Again, another cross-channel template here. I'm actually going to, instead of picking that specific shortcode, I'm actually going to get what's called a dynamic shortcode, right? And so I am specifying my shortcode here with just a little bit of code, not a whole lot, and then I can specify my message the exact same way with some code instead of a plain text.
Perhaps a power user function or someone that I would say is pretty familiar with their SMS setup.
Exactly. So what I can do here is I'll hit preview. Again, here's our HTML template. This is in French, and we can see maybe just look at the HTML real quick. French. there's Spanish for Spain, and there's Chinese. So yeah, we have a lot of different localizations here. Let's go look at that, what that looks like in SMS as well. So here is SMS. As you can see, it's now in Spanish. But if you look, Nick, so you look at the short code that's being used here, 33333, right? So that's not our 61030 short code. That's now a dynamic short code that's being pulled in.
Okay. And that would change per person?
Yeah, so now here's the Spanish one for Spain. This is the short code we're using for Spain, and also for China as well.
Okay. And as I understand it, it's because when dealing with short codes at that volume, you have to provision different numbers like per country, because like literally country to country, it's different how their cell towers work.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. You have to have one. So you know, if you rather manage that on the content side, your IT team, right, or whoever is sending those, in this case maybe a transactional message, right, they don't have to go through and provide, you know, different shortcodes from there, and you have the shortcodes all already mapped out and configured. All they got to do is send you the recipients.
Okay, that makes sense. We're getting a couple questions about workflow. So we're here at the cross-channel preview, but the question is, can separate people, right? Let's say that, so MessageGears, right? We have rather large brands who are really feeling the issues of data friction because of the amounts of data being sent back and forth. Can you just walk me through how I might have a mobile team or an app team responsible for the push, an email team responsible for my email, and an SMS team responsible for the SMS content, all within that cross-channel view?
Yeah. So you want to go back to the overview page? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah. And does it start here, and then do we have other editors for the other channel like SMS?
Yes. So we have we have an email editor here and a push editor here. Did you want to
and just let's quick, can you just pull those up and let's get an example of?
Absolutely. So this is again, this is probably a more complex use case. Oh, no, it is all through the editor here, right? So we see all this localization done here in this email, this drag and drop editor here. So we're looking at all the different dynamic data points being pulled into the message.
Cool. And we have the same thing for mobile push.
Exactly. Yeah. And so as you can see here is, again, it looks a lot more like code than it does the message you'll be seeing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because this is absolutely the power user. Even if we went back to your second use case and went into the template there, I'm sure it'd be more straightforward.
Exactly.
And there we go. Yeah. Is a trick up your sleeve. The takeaway here is that more than one person, 2 people, 3 people, 4 people, 10 people can be working on the same campaign at the same time, just different parts.
Exactly right. And yeah, and it's you know, I'm working with our clients, you know, it does sometimes the push and email team are a little bit separated. Sometimes they are together and you have the same working on the same content. But yeah, as you know, you can absolutely have all the teams working on the same content to make sure that it's unified in its messaging.
Sure. I want to go back to something you had pointed at in your third use case. When you had pulled up the text, you had mentioned that like the locale was driving a lot of that language. Yeah. Is that a MessageGears specific thing? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the locale is not specific, right? So in this case, we are passing in a locale for each user, and that's actually what's driving the different display here, right? The French versus Spanish versus English. It doesn't have to be a locale variable. It can be it can be just a country. It could be a country and a language, right? So something I didn't get to show here actually that I wanted to is that, for example, here is the English US shortcode with English text, but then here's also that same in Spanish as well. Again, still with the US shortcode because they live in the US and have a preference of Spanish. So you could, it's whatever's in your data. You could provide whatever, and with a little bit of coding work on the template side, you can have it localized.
Okay, excellent. Just a question on that. Do we have anyone, and have you personally ever set up a global SMS, I would say, use case?
Yeah, just recently, actually, one of our online retail clients is now, we just set them up in the past couple months to send to, I mean, 5 countries, 4 or 5, including Hong Kong, UK, US, Canada. I feel like there is 5, I'm missing one, but they are now sending globally to their customers.
Okay, awesome. So, and that's what I always thought. I think a lot of brands think of SMS as an America only or a America specific use case. But especially for global brands, especially for online brands, SMS, the stats that we reviewed earlier are not specific to Americans, right? We're not the only ones that like to be on our phone. I think the power of that global message is really unique. And it opens up a way. I mean, when you think of what the future is, right, or what we're doing, communicating in dozens of countries at the same time in real time, I think is pretty powerful and is pretty cool. We are reaching the end of our time here, so I'm going to go ahead and start asking some of the questions that are coming in. One question is, can just touching on analytics. What are the analytics like for SMS?
Yeah, let's
Um,
go.
and if you have those pulled up, the one thing I'll keep in mind is in email, there are a fair amount of things we can measure for any one campaign, right? The kinds of links that they're clicking, all of the opens, the domains, there's so much. SMS is more straightforward. I see you've built out an example here.
Yeah, so I have an example here that's a cross-channel campaign, right? And so we can see here, again, I apologize for the demo data. I didn't put a lot of data in here, but there were 30 sends here across 10 across each device, email, push, and SMS. So as for email here, I have these 10s and I can see these 8 opens, right? 80% open rate. And for SMS over here, I see I have these 10 deliveries, right? Because we're not tracking an open on an SMS like we are in email.
Okay, awesome. And it's just one of those things where I'm sure that most of it will be successful deliveries or unsuccessful deliveries. A quick note on the actual physical SMS sending. We do partner with a tier 1 provider, or should I say providers. We are flexible in that respect. So we are, although we absolutely have our preference and our partners that have helped us send SMS in the past, we are. I would say flexible or open to the use of different providers. I think just something to call out for those, because I did get 1 or 2 questions on providers. But I did also get a question on something like the inbound message, and I'm actually so the inbound messages are when SMS messages are sent from the user to the brand, right? To that message, 61030 or whatever short code it is that's being sent. I just want to talk about the kinds, and thank you, you're pulling it up for me, right? So the kinds of things we can feature. So in real time, the second that a brand sends an SMS message to your number, that data is recorded in your database to allow for live two-way messaging using your data. But the problem is, and it's really the opportunity, at scale, there are so many different ways and for different numbers that people want to do that just recording to the database isn't enough. Luke, can you talk a little bit about any example you've seen with people handling two-way conversations or real-time messages?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, and apologies for the technical jargon on the screen here for everybody. But yeah, there's a couple of different ways to integrate the inbound, feed that's coming back from your customers, right? And one retail brand that we helped recently was they wanted to send all their inbound messages to their support center to help their support calls, and that was huge for them. Able to communicate with their customers better, and through that SMS channel. But you can take, like Nick said, you can take it right back into your database if you wanted to. It doesn't have to go to a database. You could act on it immediately. We've had clients actually set up their own internal keywords, and that looks in their own that mixes it in or merges with their own internal data to send more personalized responses as well.
Excellent. Another question that just came up, and if you want to go back, it's about QA. The question was really, do you have any tips or thoughts on how best to QA a cross channel? I think this comes from a person who's used to living in like either a single channel or, as we say, multi-channel, where you have separate workflows for each channel. Just tips. I mean, you're the guy that does it. Do you have any tips for the audience on how you would QA or really talk about to make sure that the cross-channel message you're sending on 2 or 3 channels is effective and is as you'd expect it to be?
Yeah, so what I would say is of course, when it comes to, I would say first it starts with the complexity of the message, right? If you're having a lot of dynamic content, you want to make sure you're testing every single use case, every major use case for that content, right? And you want to have a good test set, and hopefully a live test set, right, or something that can come right from your data to do that with. So being able to map out those different scenarios or different content, and being able to just send your messages, to whoever you want, right? So if I need to come send it to you, or maybe I need to send it to someone else on our team to test the message, I can do that through here. And MessageGears also makes it easy for on the push side as well to set up test devices.
Okay, excellent. And that makes sense. Can you, from this view, send? You could send on one on all 3 channels, or I see the additional. So you could send multiple messages on multiple channels at once here.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. One more question on template design. Just, I would say, best practices for like length of message, and the kinds of knowing that you're not going to get on hot water. I'm getting a couple questions just about the design, creation, and QA there.
Yeah, so you definitely want to keep it short and sweet. There are a few things from a coding perspective that you could do to make that easier as well. But yeah, with SMS, short and sweet's the way to go. You want to have as little as fluff as possible, because you don't want to get into a scenario where you're sending multiple messages or concatenated messages to your customers.
Okay. Question on your locale. Does MessageGears automatically translate or do language translation? So I'm imagining like if you just put in the English, does MessageGears generate the French, the Arabic, the Chinese, the Spanish?
Yeah, very good question. So MessageGears is not doing the automatic translation of the actual language of the copy. You are pulling that in as part of your localized code blocks, your dynamic code blocks. So if it is Spanish, you pull in the Spanish version of that copy. What MessageGears can help with is a lot of the dates, numbers, the formatting, right? So if you see here as an example, this 2.5% here is actually going to change for different countries, like the Spanish version. Well, it should. There it is. French is doing it for me.
I got the comma. I thought it was funny that you picked the numbers and not the actual words, but yes.
Yep.
Okay, so that's something that you kind of handle on that side.
So
that makes sense.
The words,
go ahead.
Yeah, the words are what you handle on your side. MessageGears can help you handle all the formatting.
Okay. Excellent. And a couple questions coming in about the analytics of what you track. Can you, if you bring up the analytics again, just want to be super clear. This is kind of your demo data, right? So in this analytics, right, you sent a cross-channel campaign getting ready. Oh, it's called webinar campaign. That makes a lot of sense. Can you bring up? Do we have an example of a large analytical view, maybe a cross-channel send or an email send? To maybe millions of people, just maybe those over time analytics. Because what I just want to point out to the audience today, that what we I would say record and supply holistic data on all of our channels, right? So this is email, and you can see here just as an example of what some of these charts look like, and this is email per domain. So we take device analytics and interaction analytics. Not able to see it, I think, in today's demo as well, just because the demo data, and also because of I don't know how many friends or phone numbers Luke has, but I'm going to assume it's not that many. But we are tracking all of that information. We do a couple things with it. One, we show it in the UI here with the nice analytics that you can see and track. But more importantly, in real time, we are putting all of that data into the analytics, I would say, database here, which allows the marketer, allows the analyst to create, I would say, whichever view of the customer you want, to give better ideas of customer lifetime value and customer interaction across channel. Things like, I understand that I'm paying more per SMS. Am I seeing that engagement that Nick promised me in the webinar a few months ago? And so being able to put right into the database and record all of the things you might need on any channel. So this is email engagement, SMS engagement, or even mobile push engagement, is absolutely a cornerstone of what MessageGears delivers and the value we bring to our customers.
Yep, and I pulled up a list of all the different events that we do offer, all the detailed events that we do offer.
Excellent. So So I would say with that, we've about run out on time. We said 30 to 40 minutes, and we're going to hit it. If you have any last questions, please let us know in the chat here. But otherwise, Luke, do you have any last words as we close out our webinar today?
Nope. You just need to upgrade your phone to a real phone. That's about it.
I think it's a firmware thing. But I appreciate that. Hey, thank you everybody so much that tuned in today. We are going to have a recording of the webinar sent out after this, so that if you were away from keyboard, or if maybe your coworkers missed it, we're absolutely going to be able to follow with that. If you have any questions, feel free to connect with myself or Luke on LinkedIn, or reach out to us at sales@messagegears.com. Thank you very much. Everybody have a great day.
Thanks, guys.